Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Nur Azim bin Abdul Halim. Today I want to present about application rules of inference in real life. So there are three that I will present in introduction. First is statement and logical connectivities. Second is law of logic, and third is rule of inference. So for the statement and logical connectivities, a statement or a proposition is a declarative sentence that is either true or false, but not both. The statement can be represented by variable x, y, and the others. The variable called propositional variable. The true statement have true value, where false statement have false value. There is a logical operator that must be followed to make compound statements such as or, and, negation, implication, and biconditional. For the law of logic are used while proving or simplify a statement. By using law of logic, we can show two different statements as logically equivalent. We also can use law of logic to solve the problem rule of inference that are shown below. So there are many rules, law of logic. So for the first is idempotent law, second is associative law, third commutative law, and then distributive law, identity law, domination law, double negation law, complement law, De Morgan's law, absorption law, and conditional identities. So we must to understand and must to remember this law of logic. And lastly is rules of inference. So for the rule of inference, rule of inference are template for constructing value argument. It's the basic tool for establishing the truth statement. The commonly used rule of inference are tabulated below. So for the first rule of inference is modus ponens. Second is modus tollens. Third is hypothetical syllogism. Fourth is the disjunctive syllogism. Next is addition, simplification, conjunction, and resolution. So we must understand and remember this rule of inference so we can know how to solve the problem.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Haikal Hafiz. I'll continue to present to you our description rules of inference. Rules of inference refer to a series of rules used to define the parameters for truth in the context of a given situation. These rules are used within a method of evaluation called natural deduction. Non-basic rules guide proofing of statement under natural deduction. Rules of inference occur in a great many fields of thought, including logic and mathematics fields like symbolic logic, classical logic, and calculus. For the first rules, I will explain to you about modus ponens. Okay, for the first step, we have the first premises, which is P implies Q, and we look to the second step, which is our second premises, which is P. And the third step, when the P is true, so that we can conclude that for the step 4, Q is also a true statement. Okay, for the next one, I will present to you about the modus tollens. Okay, for the first step, we see the first premises, which is P implies Q, but this time we have our second premises is the negation Q. Okay, so for the third step, we know that negation Q is the true statement. So for our conclusion, step 4, negation P is true, because we know that negation Q is true, so that means P must be negation to be a true statement. For the application in real life, there are many rules of inference that are related to the current issue. In this project group, we use the situation from World Cup 2022 and implement it in our rules of inference. We use the rule of inference for our case study because they allow us to make logical deduction and reach valid conclusion based on the information we have. This can help us make better decisions, solve problems more effectively, and understand complex information more clearly. Okay, for the objective of this project is making assumption, forecast, and decision based on prior knowledge and observation. Okay, next, in order to make sense of the environment and choose action that will advance the objective. Okay, we will continue with Koyum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Abdul Qayyum and today I will present on how to apply the fundamental of logic, which is the rule of inference in real life. So based on my previous estimate already state on how to apply the rule of inference into real life. So I will show the simple question and on how to solve it. So this is the question that I have prepared in advance, which is the term is final workup. So in this statement, it will consider the following argument, which is either Argentina or Croatia go to the final workup. Croatia do not go to the final workup. If Argentina goes to the final workup, then we will not book the flight ticket to Qatar. Either we will book the flight ticket to Qatar or watch the match on television. If Messi don't play in the final, then we will not watch the match on television. Therefore, Messi will play in the final. What are the primary statements using variable P, Q, R, S, T, and what are the premise using variable? Then show that the argument is valid by using rule of inference. There's a three-step in solving the problem, which is what all the premise statement using variable such as P, Q, R, S, and T as the question request, and then what all the premise using variable, and then find the conclusion for the argument. In the question, in the final sentence, it's already given the conclusion, which is Messi will play in the final. So in our final answer, we must have Messi will play in the final. First of all, we must write all the premise statement using variables such as P, Q, R, S, and T. So first, we must write down which is Argentina or Croatia go to the final World Cup. This is two variable because it use all in the middle. So we must split it. First, P is Argentina go to the final World Cup, and then Q, Croatia go to the final World Cup. For Croatia do not go to the World Cup, it say that it's a reverse side of Q, so we can use a negation, which is I will explain in the next slide. For the third primary statement, we will declare it as R, which is we will book the flight ticket to Qatar. And for the fourth statement, we will watch the match on television. And for the final statement, Messi will play in the final. The second step is to write all the premise using variable. To write down all the premise, we must write down sentence by sentence. For an example, for the first sentence, which is either Argentina or Croatia go to the final World Cup. For Argentina is P, and for Croatia go to the final World Cup is Q. And then it use or in the middle of the sentence. So or is a disconjunction, or is a disjunction, and we must put a V symbol in the middle of the both statement in the both variable, and then declare it as a premise 1. And then Croatia do not go to the final World Cup. This is a reverse statement of Q. So we must put a negation symbol which at the front of the Q in number 2. This is a negation symbol that will show that the statement is a reverse statement of Q. And then, if Argentina goes to the final World Cup, then we will not book the flight ticket to Qatar. For if Argentina goes to the World Cup is P, then we will not book the flight ticket to Qatar. Book the flight ticket to Qatar declare as an R, but in the statement we will not book the flight ticket to Qatar. so we must put a negation in R. And the statement said that if Argentina goes to the final World Cup, then we will not book the flight ticket to Qatar. This statement called implication. So we must put an arrow symbol to show the variable. And for the fourth premise, which is R and ROS, either we will book the flight ticket to Qatar or watch the match on television. We will book the flight to Qatar is R, and watch the match on television is S. If Messi don't play in the final, then we will not watch the match on television. If Messi don't play in the final is negation T. So we must put a negation symbol in the font, and then there is if then. If not T, then so we must put an arrow symbol to show that is it implication. And then it's also said that we will not watch the match on television. Not watch the match on the television is a negation to S. So we must put negation T implied to negation S as n premise 5. Also in the question it's also said that the final conclusion is Messi will play in the final. So in our final answer we must have T in our answer. We will got T in our answer. Alright, so based on previous premise that has been given, we will start solving the solution using the law of inference. First of all, we will use disjunctive syllogism, which from premise 1 and premise 2. So we will got P. And then for number 7, we will use a definition of implication from premise 3. So we will get negation P disjunction to negation R. For number 8, we will use a disjunctive syllogism by using step number 6 and number 7, and then we will get negation R. And for the number 9, we will use disjunctive syllogism again from number 4 and from number 8 to get S. And for number 10, we will use definition of implication from number 5 to get T disjunction to negation S. And finally, we will use disjunctive syllogism from number 10 and number 9 to get T. And since T is the final conclusion, this is the final answer. So in the conclusion, T is Messi will not play in the final, and this is the final conclusion that we can get. So that's how we solve the problem. As the summary, all of inference are set of logical forms used to create sound argument by starting with premise and leading to a conclusion. They can be used in real-life situations such as example of the FIFA World Cup event. There are different methods and type of rules that can be used to solve rules of inference question, but they all lead to the same conclusion. The objective of using these rules is to make assumption, prediction, and take action based on the past experience and observation in order to make sense of the world and make informed decisions. That's all from me, and thank you.